The best thing about living in our street was my best mate Matty only lived 2 doors away. The worst thing was, in between our house and his lived an ogre and his wife. She wasn't that bad, but he was straight out of Lord of the Rings. We knew what we should have done, what Dad would have said. Go and knock, ask him for your ball back. That seemed reasonable, but we weren't dealing with someone who was reasonable. Besides which, I know him and Dad didn't get on. Not since that time with the tree, when the petals got blown into his garden. Mum said he had a canary fit, whatever that is. I know he went purple. The thing was, we'd been down that road before, asking him, politely, to return our ball, only to be subjected to a never-ending lecture about keeping the ball under control, not kicking it round the back, going on about some ancient footballer who dribbled. I had visions of me granddad, followed by very clear threats about what would happen next time. Dad said he was nothing more but a grumpy old get. So we needed to come up with something far more devious, cleverer, something Dad would be proud of. The more we thought about it, the more impossible it seemed. Matty even started coming up with really wild ideas. If we had a crane, one of those ones like you see on the back of a truck, the ones that come out, extend, like one bit comes out of the other, like a telescope, that sort of thing. Well, if we had one of them, we could get on the end of the wire, the rope, cable, Matty. Cable. Yeah, that's it, the cable, the bit that hangs down. Well, we could lower ourselves down and... Yeah, good idea. Let's go and get the crane. I think me dad's got one in the garage. I'll drive and lower you down on the... I'm not going on there. He looked at me, a bit embarrassed. It always took a while, but you knew eventually he'd get it. Matty was full of ideas. It's just that most of them were useless. We sat on the low front garden wall, lost in our thoughts. Hi, Jay. It was Annie, Matty's sister. She was a lot older than us. We were due to start secondary school in September, but she was already in year 8. I felt my face suddenly burning. So, what are you two up to? You look like you're plotting something. Nothing, said Matty. Where we, Jay? I kept my head down, shaking it, not wanting her to see my blood-red face. Well, you're up to something. She turned to walk away when I suddenly found my voice. We're just trying to get our ball back. The words just blurted out without any thought. Where is it? It's in there. I pointed to number 17, round the back. Ali looked in the direction I'd pointed and sighed. Oh, Mr. Purvey, he's such a pain, always staring. Every time me and Shez walk past, he's there, perving. She came and stood by us, smelling like flowers, nice, clean, like she had flowers in her hair, and the skin on her arms and her bare belly was smooth. So how did it get round the back? My confidence had come back. I liked having her there. We were kicking it against the back wall, then you slammed it, flew into the air, straight into his. Matty, nodded over at number 17. So why don't you just climb over and get it? He'll probably be watching. Matty was quick to point out. Yeah, and if he catches us, you know what he's like. He'll go ballistic. Then he'll have a go at me dad, or worse, your mum. It'll all kick off, and we'll still get told off, and probably get the ball taken off us anyway. Ali smiled. Her eyes sparkled, her lips full and red. What you need is a distraction. Something to keep him occupied while you get over the wall. See ya. She turned and walked away. I missed watching her lips as she spoke. I watched her for a while as she walked down the street, till I caught Matty looking at me strangely. She's right. That's what we need, a distraction. All that Matty could manage by means of a reply was to nod. And again, we both fell silent. Ali's words, and the lips that spoke them, kept going round and round through my head. Where's your Ali going now? The seed of an idea starting to grow in my thoughts. Dunno, probably to get Shez. They usually come back to ours on a Friday, do all that make-up stuff. He looked at me through slits of eyes, almost frowning. Why? That's our distraction, Ali and Shez. She said he always pervs at them. Well, he's watching them. I could almost hear the cogs turning in Matty's head, his expression now questioned. Don't you see? While grumpy ass Mr. Perv is watching them, we get over the wall and... Yeah! The light went on and Matty's face broke into a broad beaming smile. Let's go. Matty, we've got to wait for Ali and Shez. Catch them before they get here. Make sure they keep him occupied. I kept running the plan through my head. If I got up on the back wall, I could look through in between our house and his. Then, if Ali gave me a signal, along the wall, jump down into his, get the ball. What could go wrong? It seemed like ages before we spotted Ali and Shez walking down the street. We ran up to them and explained the plan. Both girls stared at me, then at each other, and started to laugh. Okay, Jay. Ali was beaming, her eyes sparkling. Leave it to us. We'll make sure all his attention is on us. We ran ahead of the giggling girls, wanting to get into position. I was waiting, crouched on the wall, a clear view between the two houses when the girls arrived outside Mr. Perv's. They were noisy, singing, dancing, messing about right outside the ogre's house. Ali briefly looked in my direction, blew me a kiss. The signal. I felt my face begin to redden, but sneaked along the wall, jumped down. The ball was easy to spot, in the top of an empty plant pot on his patio. I ran over, retrieved it, threw it over the fence into ours and the waiting hands of Matty, and was back up on the wall. As I reached the spot where I could see the girls again, I glanced over to let them know mission accomplished. As I raised an arm to wave, I caught Annie's eye, gleaming. Both girls giggling, smiling, their soft, ruby lips parting. Time slowed. Ali and Shez were close, arms around each other, their lips touching. I lost my balance and went plummeting into ours. Matty broke my fall and his arm. Things were never quite the same after that. I remember when Annie got married. I gave her a tiny football on a key ring. She looked at me with curiosity in her eyes. Then her and Shez, her bridesmaid, both laughed.